Hey there, everyone. Let's solve for a given variable. Now, this is a pretty standard problem you'll see on a college entrance exam. So let's make sure we really take the time to understand it and figure it out, because this is not just helpful for this class, but this will really be helpful for the exam. I'd be surprised if this did not exist an exam that you would take. So let's look at it. So it says, let's look at this given problem. It says z equals -12 plus 9a minus b, and we're solving for a. Now there's 5 steps that should really carry you through any problem you see like this. This is a simpler problem, so we'll skip through a lot of steps. But we're going to see another problem that goes through all of them. Let's first go through these steps so you can kind of understand what it's telling us to do or what we need to do. The process is first to get the variable we care about, which in this case is a. We're trying to solve for a, in essence, out of the denominator. And really, when we're trying to solve for a, what it means is that we're trying to get a on one side of the equation. So as you get a on one side of the equation, the first step is to get it out of the denominator. And fortunately, there is no denominator. A denominator is part of a fraction, and there's no fractions here, so we can skip that step. So step 1 immediately is done. Step 2 is to get all of that variable, all of the a's in this instance, into one side of the equation. Well, there's only one a, and it's only on one side of the equation, it's on the right side, so there's nothing we need to do there either. It's done. So we can say that step is done. Okay, the third step says to combine all a's into one by factoring. So normally, if there are multiple a's, we would combine them together by using factoring to bring them all into one. But there's only one a, so we can just skip that. And then fourthly, we need to get rid of everything that's not touching the variable. Now, this is where we actually start to need to do math. So let's start out the problem again so we can kind of get a framework of what's going on here. So z equals -12 plus 9a minus b. If we're trying to get rid of everything that's not touching the variable, here's what we can do to make this kind of easy. We'll section it off a bit. So we'll make a section, and how we'll make these sections is we'll make a section every single time we see a plus or minus that's all by itself. I mean, if we're in a fraction and there's a plus or minus, then we won't care about this. If there's like 2 plus 12 over 7, we won't make we will make a section between those two, the 2 and the 12. What we'll actually just do is make a section on the side of it, like this. So what I'm saying here is we're going to make a section here between the -12, because there's a minus. There's a section, we'll make a section in the plus 9a and a section in the minus b. And you see I made sections. Everywhere I see a plus or a minus, I made a new section. So there's a section for the -12, there's a section for the plus 9a, there's a section for the minus b, a section for a minus, a plus, and a minus. That's all I'm doing. I'm making a section every single time I see a plus or a minus. Again, if it's something like in a fraction or something, that's just kind of hard to make a section, so I'll just make a set. If there was a fraction, you'd make a section outside of the entire fraction, because going inside the middle, that's just difficult. You don't want to have to deal with that. So, but fortunately, we don't have fractions here. We just have just this. So we'll take these sections, and we need to get rid of each section that a isn't in. Everything, because those are the places, those are the things that aren't touching a. Here's what we do. We want to get rid of this -12 because it's in a section that doesn't have the a. And so to get rid of the -12, we can do the opposite of -12. We can add 12. For b, we've got a minus b. We want to do the opposite of minus b, so we'll just add b. But as you probably remember pretty well now, whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side of the equation. That's how we keep it equal. So we'll add 12 and add b to the left side of the equation too. Okay, so now we'll just kind of reduce this down a bit. We get, on the left side, we have z plus 12 plus b, and all that equals, let's see, the -12 and plus 12 cancel out, and the minus b and plus b, those cancel out too. So that gives us just this plus 9a. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the 2 sections that are in the way. That was step 4. Step 4 is now done. Step 4 is now done. And now we move on to step 5. Step 5, let's see if I can get step 5 going. Step 5 says to get rid of everything that's touching the variable. And to do this, we use multiplication and division. So here's what we do. We have z plus 12 plus b equals, let's see, a plus sign a is just 9a. We can stretch this 9a. So we got to figure out what is touching a. Well, what is touching a is this 9 here. This 9 is touching a. And in fact, it's being multiplied by a. So we've got a 9 times an a. So if we've got a 9 times an a, we got to do the opposite to get rid of it. So we just got to divide. So we'll divide both sides by 9. Because we do the one side of the equation to do the other. These 9s cancel out, and that'll give us our answer. If we write it out more fully, we'll get z plus 12 plus b divided by 9 equals a. And that is our answer. That's all there is to it. So that's the first section. The second section is, the second problem is a little more complex. Does a lot. It actually makes us need to use all 5 steps. Okay, step 1. Well, let's look at it first. We got u equals 2a plus 1 divided by 2ka, and we're solving for a. So here's what we need to do. First, we need to get the variable we care about, which in this case is still a, out of the denominator. Looks like there's a denominator here. We've got this is our denominator at the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and do what we can to get rid of this denominator. Okay, so we got u. Oops, that's still erasing. U equals 2a plus 1 over 2ka. All right. To get rid of it, to get rid of this a to get it out of the denominator, we've got to multiply both sides by this denominator. And here's the reason why. Because 2a plus 1, we're dividing that by 2ka. And if we want to get rid of it, we can multiply both sides by 2ka. In its essence, if you really wanted to, you could just multiply both sides by a. That works too. But for thoroughness' sake, let's try to get rid of that denominator entirely. So we'll multiply this side by 2ka, and we'll multiply this side by 2ka. That's 2ka. All right. So that's how we cancel it out. Every single time we do this, when we do step 1, every single time it's going to involve multiplication. That's what we'll do. So these 2ka's, they cancel out, and we get what we're left with on this side is 2ka times u. So we could actually write 2ka u equals 2a plus 1. Because as parentheses, it just means multiplication. And the things inside, that's a 2 times a k times an a and times a u. So everything's being multiplied by each other. We can just write it as all together as 2 times k times a times u, or just 2ka u. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 asks us to do this. It asks us to get all of that variable into one side of the equation. Here's our problem. We've got an a on one side of the equation and an a on the other side of the equation. So we need to do what we can to get a all the way to one side of the equation. So let's say we want to get them all to the right side. It doesn't really matter. We can choose whichever side we want to. But let's say we want to get to the right side of the equation. Here's what we'll do. We will say, well, I don't want this a on the left side of the equation because I want to get it all to the right side of the equation. So I'm going to figure out a way to get rid of this a. Well, I could divide again, but I could divide, but that is the exact opposite of what we just did in step 1. I don't want to undo my steps. So instead of dividing, let's see if we can subtract something. Step 1 is usually going to involve multiplication. Step 2 is usually going to involve in subtraction. Or addition. It could be addition or subtraction. So let's just add that for clarity's sake. Just in case the variable we're doing is we work with a negative number. So we've got 2kau. We want to get rid of the 2kau, so we're going to subtract 2kau from both sides. We'll do minus 2kau minus 2kau. And why did I choose the whole thing instead of just a, subtracting a? Well, it's because this is all one giant mess. And when you when you do addition or subtraction, you've got to add or subtract the entire term, not just one part. So this is all one giant term. It's all stuck together, all like a unit. And the only way to break up that unit is by multiplication and division. We don't have multiplication and division. We just have addition and subtraction that we're doing here. So this becomes 2k AU minus 2k AU. That's 0. That's 0 equals 2a plus 1 minus 2k AU. All right. So that's step 2. Step 2 is finished. Then we'll go to step 3. Step 3 says we need to combine all a's into 1 by factoring it out. So we're going to factor out an a from both sides of this equation. Here's what we'll do. We'll bring all these a's together. 0 equals, let's see, let's just kind of, I'll rewrite this so it's a little bit clearer. 1 plus 2a minus 2k AU. And all I did was I switched these two. Because they're addition, I can switch them like that. And now I'm going to factor out an a from these last two terms. I want to combine these a's into 1. And so what I can do is I can say, hey, these are like terms. I can factor out an a. I can pull out an a. So I'll do that. I will pull out, I'll do 0 equals 1 plus, and I'll factor out an a. I'll pull out an a, and I'll just write what's left. A times 2 minus 2ku. All right. And now I'm almost done. At this point, we move on to step 4. We're going to get rid of everything that's not touching the variable. And we're going to do that same sectioning thing we did before. So step 4, we've got 0 equals 1 plus a times 2 minus 2ku. And we will section it off. So every time I see a plus, I'll make a section line, a section right there. So there's one section, which means I need to get rid of this 1 here. To get rid of that 1, I'm going to subtract by 1. Subtract by 1. So we'll do the one side, I have to do the other. And I'll get negative 1 equals, let's see, these cancel out, a times 2 minus 2ku. Finally, that's step 4. So finally, we get on to the last step. We're going to get rid of everything that's touching the variable using multiplication and division. So what's touching this a? Is everything in this parentheses. Everything in the parentheses is touching the a. So we'll get rid of the entire parentheses. It's being multiplied, so we will divide. We'll divide by 2 minus 2ku on the right side, but we have to do it to the left side as well. So 2 minus 2ku. I guess I'm doing step 5 early over here, so I'll move that up just for clarity. And then that leaves us with 1, negative 1, divided by, those parentheses aren't next to anything, so I can just get rid of them. 2 minus 2ku equals a. And that is our answer.